Hi, this is Andrea Kane, and I'm here with you for HIT 445 Quality Management, and we are now on week 4. If you are looking at your syllabus, you will see that this week we will cover chapters 15, 17, and 18 in our textbook. This particular lecture is on chapter 15, and all 3 chapters together will help us cover unit objectives 9.1.6 through 9.1.12 and 9.2.1 and 9.2.5. So that's what we're going to focus on. If you want to take out your textbook and follow along, we're on page 303. So we're making great progress. This particular chapter is all about organizing and evaluating performance information, or performance improvement information, I should say. The learning objectives, according to the book, are to look at the role of the organization's leaders in performance improvement activities, examine committee and reporting structures, and look at how healthcare organizations train and orient their governance, meaning the board, leaders and employed staff in PI strategies and methods. What are the best ways to organize PI data for effective review, especially by a board of directors? Assessing areas that should be addressed when you develop an organization's PI plan. Looking at the ways performance improvement activities are implemented and findings are communicated throughout the organization. Applying evaluation processes, looking at how the information is gathered, and evaluating the performance improvement program itself. So let's start out by talking about the board of directors. They bear the ultimate responsibility for the quality of patient care provided by the organization. If you remember back to HIT 421, there was chapter 7 in our book, and it talked about what a corporation was and what the board of a corporation is responsible to do. And I think you remember that they had 2 primary fiduciary duties. One was loyalty, and the other one was responsibility, or how they carried things out with due diligence. So anyway, coming back to here, hospitals are all corporations. They all have boards of directors, whether they're for-profit or not for-profit. The board of directors has the ultimate authority, not authority, but responsibility for ensuring the quality of patient care. So they are expected to set expectations, develop plans, and hire people who implement the procedures that assess and improve the quality. So that's why you often, or you should see in every hospital or healthcare organization, you should see a board who wants to know all about quality. What's happening with performance improvement? What are we doing that is in need of improvement? What are we doing that is already improved? Those types of things. So this is an example of a hospital organization chart, and I'm not going to get into it because hospital organizations are made up of all different things, but essentially the CEO reports to the board of directors no matter where you go. And coming up through the CEO and the board of directors is quality and performance improvement information. Most boards have a subcommittee that looks at performance and quality. Strategic planning. Part of strategic planning is to do what is called a SWOT analysis. This is where you look at the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and threats. If you remember back, I think we've done SWOT analysis before, but if you aren't remembering that, strengths and weaknesses are internal. What is that internally? Opportunities and threats are external. So as you're thinking about it, SW is internal, OT is external, and this is a way for you to analyze something specific, such as a plan to do something. The organization's leaders decide the scope and focus of performance monitoring and data collection activities. A lot of times they delegate some of that down into the director of quality management to work on, but risk is always involved, as is utilization. Sometimes HIM is, because they're definitely looking for data. Activities are planned, hopefully in a collaborative and interdisciplinary manner. and organizations use criteria, or they should be using criteria. It shouldn't be something that they picked out of the air or they subjectively think about. It should be something that is very objective, that it utilizes benchmarking and all those types of things, both from internal and external sources. So when they design their PI plan, they want to have data that's systematically collected, aggregated, and analyzed on an ongoing basis. They want to be able to prove through their plan that they are identifying improvement opportunities and making changes that will lead to and sustain improvement, particularly in patient care. So how do they set priorities? Well, typically they look at high risk, high volume, or problem prone. Those are the areas that you usually start with when it comes to quality management, because those are the biggest bang for your buck, so to speak. They're the 80-20. If you tackle the 20% that are causing 80% of your problems, you will have made significant improvements right there. So the degree of adverse impact on patient care that can be expected if an improvement opportunity remains unsolved. That's what they're looking at. And they want to see also the degree to which patient safety is improved. The board of directors delegates plan implementation to the PI, Patient Safety Council, Quality Management Director, however they decide to do that. But there definitely is an organization-wide PI, Quality, or Safety Council, whatever they decide to title it. And that council then defines what happens, how does the data get collected, assessed, findings reported, activities occur. They bring all of that to that committee, and from that committee, that report goes up to senior leadership and the board so that they can see what is happening. So the board is the one that's ultimately responsible, but they delegate their authority down through senior leadership to a specific group that then covers the entire organization. The performance improvement plan has to be evaluated on an annual basis, and that evaluation has to happen not only through the committee, but also through the medical staff, executive committee, and senior leadership to the board. And the board then ultimately identifies if the tweaks that have been proposed are something that they want to pursue. So why do they evaluate it? Well, they need to determine, is the organization's approach to designing, measuring, assessing, and improving its performance going the way that it should be? Is it planned? Is it systematic? Is it organization-wide? Is it actually doing what it's supposed to do and improving things? And is this happening collaboratively, not in silos? And does there need to be a redesign? Has something changed in the organization's strategic plan or objectives? Is there a new external benchmarking threshold that suddenly has thrown things off? Is there a change in regulations? Look at all that will have changed in organizational performance improvement plans because of COVID in 2020. I mean, I'm sure that prior to 2020, yes, they talked about infectious diseases, but COVID as a pandemic really changed things. And then again, like I said, they look at whether or not it was effective. Obviously, they have an executive summary, an overview, review the PI structure, look at opportunities, look at activities, and then they may include things like customer satisfaction, risk exposure, what's going on with HR in terms of what they're doing with hiring, assessing performance, and that sort of thing. Accreditation and licensure, because there are changes that come through that. And then again, like I said, the program effectiveness and any recommendations. So when it comes to the board and their PI activities, they're looking at coordination of the program, clinical and non-clinical program monitoring, organizations of services and departments that carry out the PI program, reporting frequency, format, timing. And then this is an example of how information needs to go back and forth through the different groups within the organization, but ultimately to the board of directors. and back down again. Dashboards, these are reports that provide valuable information that's in an easily readable format and can be used as a guide for making management decisions. Think about your dashboard of your car and the information you can get by looking at your dashboard. For those of you that are a little bit more familiar with older model vehicles, think about the dashboards before there were any digital items. Now think about cars that have all digital dashboards. Big changes. They're still measuring many of the same things, but some things are different. So it's a dashboard for a hospital is the same way. And dashboards can be electronic, or they can be a spreadsheet, or they can be, there's different software packages that offer dashboards, and essentially you purchase the package and it integrates in with your with one of your with your EHR, and it pulls information from your EHR or from your financial system, however you have it set up, into this dashboard format, and then makes it readily available and viewable. So there are a lot of electronic dashboards these days. There are some standing committees in the medical staff, including ethics, credentials, P&T, utilization, environmental safety, and then of course there's the departmental ones. There's also MedExec. For performance improvement education, they really want to make sure everyone knows the mission, vision, values. There has to be some basic PI training at new hire orientation and annual supplemental training. And that is it for chapter 15. I'll be back shortly and we'll talk about chapters 17 through 18. Thanks.